if you speak to a lot of people who work in sales, none
Right.
apply saying, oh my God, this is really what I want to do. After 15 years in sales, you don't have
Yes.
feelings anymore.
Yeah. No more feelings.
A good salesperson never has the feeling that, okay, now I know what I do at all times. AI won't fix any issue. AI will amplify something.
Welcome to Founders and Jeans. Welcome to or welcome back to Founders and Jeans. I'm your host, Emily Jean. And before we get into the episode, I just want to say a huge thank you so much for listening to my podcast. It means the world to me. I also wanted to say that if you enjoy the show, feel free to leave a review on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to this, and also to follow us. You can follow us on Spotify, of course. You can follow us on Instagram at Founders and Jeans. You can also find me on Instagram at emily.jeans, or you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect with people on there, and I have a lot of good conversations from listeners. Also, you can always leave a bad review for us. I'm totally fine with that. And in fact, I think that's exciting. I would love to know what we can do to improve. So you can also leave comments below and let me know what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. I actually do read every single one. We also have a newsletter that comes out once a week, so you can get all the updates from us. We also put in some weekly business and marketing updates in there, as well as some personal notes from me. You can subscribe to that on my LinkedIn, also through the Instagram and in the show notes below. Anyways, that is all from me. I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode. I hope it's a good one, and I'll chat to you soon. Mafalda Johannsen of SDRS of Germany. Welcome to Founders and Jeans. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. Obviously, I have seen your posts on LinkedIn. You are, in my mind, a LinkedIn guru. So I'm really excited to pick your brain and chat to you today. For people who have not heard of you, why don't you give a little bit of a background by yourself?
Emily, thank you so much for having me, first of all. And not sure if I'm a LinkedIn guru, but I'm quite consistent. And I think that's what makes my presence there. So yes, my name is Mafalda. It's a Portuguese name, very common in Portugal, very uncommon outside of Portugal. I've been living in Germany for 10 years. I lived in the States before. I've been working in sales most of my life. And besides that, I have lots of hobbies. Recently this year, I've launched a book on prospecting. I do some marketing for a band. I had 2 sales podcasts in the past. So always on the move, always trying new things. So that's who I am.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited to chat to you about that. I want to kind of go backwards and start with the basics, obviously. I guess I'm curious, how did you kind of first step into the world of business development and sales?
I would say like every salesperson, the reason was just randomly, like, no one ever says, oh, I want to be a salesperson when I grow up, right? So you always think about that. And then you finish your college and then you have no job. And then the only people who are willing to hire you are
Yes.
the ones who want you to sell for them.
Right.
So I was living in the States. I had a visa. I had bills to pay. I had no curriculum.
Mhm.
And the only job that accepted me was definitely the sales job. At the time was 100% commission. So there was no risk for them, right? So if I would do a
Right.
bad job, they would pay me anyway. That's why they're like, sure, come work for us. And at the time I was like, okay, I don't think I'm good at sales. I
Mhm.
don't think I like this, but I have no other choice. So I will
Mhm.
just and in the end of the day, it went well. And I'm still in the sales world, 15 years after. So, and I think if you speak to a lot of people who work in sales, the story is very similar. None
Right.
apply saying, oh my God, this is really what I want to do.
Can't wait to
Hopefully,
go into sales. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that will change because now
Mhm.
there are a lot of people who like and who advocate for the sales position. So hopefully the new
Right.
generations will want to work in sales. But until now, that was not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when people hear sales, they have a very specific picture in mind. So, how old were you, did you say, when you first got into sales then?
22.
22. So how intimidating for a 22-year-old. I think like I'm thinking now of the 22-year-old version of me would be so scared. How long did it take you to feel like you are like, okay, I'm good at sales now?
I don't think you ever feel that. So
Mm,
even nowadays, I'm like, my God, I could be so much better. I should have done this. Next time I
mm,
will do that. And I think the best salespeople are the ones that are always adapting to new technologies, new methods. You see a lot successful salespeople like from 10 years ago struggling right now because the world has changed, the technology has changed. So I think a
mhm,
good salesperson never has the feeling that, okay, now I know what I do at all
right.
times. Obviously, you feel comfortable, but and you know certain things work, but I don't know. I never had the feeling in anything that I'm like, no, I'm mastering this. And I
Mm,
think it's a good thing to have because you always keep trying to improve yourself. But I would say when I started, yeah, the first days it was very embarrassing. Also
yeah.
because I really didn't like believe it was timeshare. Don't judge me,
Mm,
but like I really didn't believe much in the product. I'm European, right? We don't do
mhm,
timeshare
right.
usually. So it was timeshare. I really didn't believe in the product. So for me, it was like, hey, do you want to visit this resort? I was like, so it was, it was not easy, but I had amazing colleagues. I had people from Colombia, Brazil, Cuba. It was in Florida, so a lot of
Mhm,
Latinos, and they all were super supporting. They helped me in my first deals. The first one they closed for me the first one to give me
wow.
confidence. And bear in mind, these people are also 100% commission. So
Mm,
they are not making any money if I'm the one like signing the deal. So I
mhm,
have to say that having those supportive colleagues was a big difference for me to not give up on my career, and I cherish that. Like that
mhm.
was the first thing I wrote on my book,
Yeah.
because they really deserve the praise.
Yeah, yeah. I know I want to talk about your book a little bit, so I know this is gonna be kind of jumping around a bit, but so why don't you first tell me what was your book about? I know, but for people who haven't don't know.
So, my book is about prospecting, which is business development, which is the what I've been doing most of my time in my sales career. And so, prospecting, how to send a good prospecting email, cold calling, LinkedIn, how to train your salespeople, how to onboard them, all of that. And then with the help of AI. So, I first teach how to do it without AI, and then I show a bit how can AI make your life easier. So
Mhm.
that's basically the topic of my book,
Yeah.
prospecting with the help of AI.
So I think some people are maybe gonna be a little bit confused by what prospecting means before we get into the AI aspect of it. Can you break down what that means to
Yes.
you?
So prospecting is reaching out to companies who never heard about you or not so much and trying to convince them to see your product or service. So
Mm,
that's the definition of prospecting. And
yeah.
as I mentioned, it can be done by email, by cold calling, by LinkedIn,
Mhm.
or even better, everything at once.
Yeah. Is there a difference between cold outreach versus prospecting, or is it the same thing in your eyes?
I would say it's the same thing. Prospecting is a broader term because
Mhm,
you can prospect even if it's not completely cold, right?
mhm,
So imagine if it's an inbound, right? So they downloaded our ebook from our
mhm,
website, and then I reach out to the person and they didn't reply. I still have to prospect to them, but
mm.
it's not cold outreach, is warm outreach, right?
Right. Right. Got it. Yeah, and I think too the term prospecting also implies, I guess, more of a methodical approach. Obviously, you can have that in cold outreach too, but I think it's a little more thought out and well processed. Okay, so then why don't we chat about AI prospecting? So what got kind of the basics there? What do you want to talk about with this?
Yeah, yeah. So I see the main mistake I see in many, 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 many companies is they have foundational issues.
Hmm.
And instead of fixing them, they add some AI tool to try to fix foundational issue. And the
Hmm.
problem with that is AI won't fix any issue. AI will amplify something.
Okay.
So if you have a problem, AI will amplify the problem. If
Mm,
you have a well thought process, AI will amplify your well thought process. And this is how you should use AI. I
mm,
can be specific. For example, if you don't know who your target market is, what's interesting for them, what hurts them, what are the challenges, priorities. If you don't know that, every time you do outreach, so per email, per cold call, per LinkedIn, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to say something that's compelling to them, that's interesting. So you won't be able to sell them.
Mm.
Now, AI cannot help here. What AI would do in this case would be you send more bad messages to the more wrong people. You don't want
Right.
that. So
Right.
what you have to do is, and I can give a very specific example on how I used AI in my previous company was,
Mm-hmm.
we study our target market. We knew exactly how our ideal customer was and what was interesting for this target group. And then I use AI to be able for my team to be able to do 10 dials per time. So instead of calling one person and then another one and then until someone picks up the phone, the AI can call 10 numbers at the same time until someone picks the phone. So
Mm.
your connected rate, it's much higher. But the groundwork is done. They know they have the right list of people. They know exactly what to tell them. They know exactly what's important for them. And that it's not something AI can help you with. Can help you with
Right.
research, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
you can help use AI in order to help you with the research to know that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't even waste your time or invest your time doing this, and then suddenly you want to mix AI in the formula to see if suddenly you can sell, you're not going to go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
Right, right. I think when people hear, prospecting with AI or cold outreach with AI, they're gonna be thinking, spam AI messages that are
Precisely.
clearly ChatGPT generated.
Exactly. That's exactly how you shouldn't use AI. And that's why I make a clear separation in my book. I don't mix foundational learnings with AI on the same chapter. So
Mhm,
I have a chapter saying this is how you write a good email,
mhm.
and I don't mention AI at all. And
Yeah.
then next chapter is this is how you can make it faster with AI, right? This
Mhm,
is how. Then the other chapter is how this is how you should cold call. Okay, now this with AI. This is how it can be even more efficient with cold
mhm,
call because it's
mhm.
really important that you know how to do everything without AI.
Right, right, absolutely. Would you say that that is the biggest misconception that people have when it comes to using AI in
I think
sales? Yeah, yeah, I agree. I know you just shared a little bit, but is there kind of one approachable or more practical way that founders can use AI today to make prospecting easier? Something
yes.
very
So
straightforward.
besides the power dial, that's how it's called. So if you put power dial, you will get some AI tools that will dial more than one number at the same time.
Mhm,
The other way is, for example, there is a tool I really like. It's called Amplemarket. And really, Amplemarket for me, it's really the tool that shows you how to use AI properly in your
mhm,
prospecting. So you will have to know and to do the groundwork of who your ideal customer is, what are the triggers that are important for this customer, and then you add that to the tool. And every day you have a list of companies that fit that profile.
mhm,
And I can tell you from someone who has done prospecting before the AI era,
mhm.
like finding the right companies, even knowing exactly what you're looking for, but finding the right companies, even with Sales Navigator, takes a lot of time. So
Right.
if I have AI giving me the right companies every day in 2 seconds, that's 2 hours daily of
Yeah.
my time that I've just saved.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing. You can make everything so much faster. Or, for example, I have the feeling that this company might be a good fit, but maybe it's a very technical product, right? So you look at
Mhm,
the website, it's like, yeah, they sound like a customer that could be interesting, but I really don't understand what they do because the website is not very,
mhm,
doesn't clarify that much. And then what you can do is adding on ChatGPT your solution the websites and say, do you think this is a good customer and why? Why would they need us? And then you have some clarity. So instead of you trying to understand that for 1 hour and trying to get there, you have a little help from AI. Now, still be critical, right? So,
mhm.
so check if what AI says makes sense, and you should know your business best to see if
Right.
that makes sense. But it really, really helps you get things faster. Or, for example, I'm writing a cold email,
Mm,
and even native speaker, right? So I'm Portuguese. I'm not English, and I write the email, and obviously I know how to write in English, but it's like it doesn't sound as I want it to sound, right?
mhm.
So I can go in ChatGPT and say, can you make it a bit more? nicer, a bit more like closer to a native speaker email.
Mhm, mhm.
And in 2 seconds, it gives you a really good option or not.
Yeah,
But it's also like you don't have the writer's block like you used to.
right.
So this is how you should use AI to make you more efficient, but you need to know your stuff. You
Mm,
need to know the fundamentals.
yeah, absolutely. Could you say that name of that tool you mentioned?
Yes. Ample market.
Amplemarket. Okay, I just want people to hear that.
Yes.
Amplemarket, and you said what was the dialing one?
Power dial.
Power dial. Okay, all right, good.
Ample
I
market
love
has a power dial in it.
Okay, got it, got it. I love specific tools like that that founders can hear and take on. So I guess I'm curious then, what, where, and how do you see AI changing sales in the next few years? Like, what do you think will be the biggest change we'll see?
Yeah. So I think we have the downside and the upside. The downside is the spammy thing that you just mentioned, right? So
Mhm,
basically, before, like a lot of people still don't know how to properly sell and prospect, right? It's because there were no formal education on that. There are a
mhm,
lot of reasons why a lot of sales professionals are not that professional in their profession.
mhm,
So what happened with AI was amplifying that. So
mm,
before they were able to send 20 bad emails, now they're able to send 110 bad
right,
emails because of
right,
AI, which creates noise in the market, makes even more difficult to sell
mhm,
because each prospect is receiving more outreach, more bad outreach every day, which
right,
makes our job more difficult. That's the
mhm,
downside. The upside is I can be more efficient because I
mhm,
always I always believed in prospecting with quality, but that would take me always a lot of time. And
right,
for the first time in history, we can have quantity and quality.
mm.
Before we had to choose between quantity and quality. Now we don't have to if we do it the right way. And that's a big opportunity. So you can reach out to more accounts that are relevant in a relevant way and eventually be more successful.
I love that answer. So clear. I want to talk about podcasting a little bit.
Yes.
As you know, I have a podcast. So,
We know. First time in here.
surprise, surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
So, you have hosted two sales podcasts.
Yes.
So, I would consider that makes you a podcasting pro, truly.
Well,
You're so humble. You're like, well, maybe not.
I'm always been like, I would love to know when do I feel an expert in something because I don't
Right,
feel an
right.
expert in anything in life.
That probably makes you an expert, is not feeling that way.
Probably. Hopefully.
I guess I'm curious. So, well, first of all, I want to start with I find that for business owners or for founders, especially budding entrepreneurs, I tell everyone they should start a podcast. Do you agree with that advice? I'm just curious now.
In general, yes, but I
Mhm.
think it depends a lot on the business,
Mm,
and the target market. But in general, yes, I think it's because podcasting has a lot of advantages, not only brand awareness, people can hear you, people can see you, but it's also a great way to network, right? Because you invite your
yeah,
guests to your podcast and it's a great way to network with people from your industry because I will assume your podcast is about your industry, right?
right, right.
And it's also a great way to learn from the guests and kind of have a one-on-one that everyone can hear with the guest.
Mhm.
So not only for marketing, but also for networking, I think having a podcast it's a very good thing to do when you're a founder. Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. Finds that there's a bit of upfront investment when it comes to podcasts, time, money, energy, but
Well,
what you get out of it is beyond compare. I think it's such like a you get back tenfold.
and it's super fun. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah, I love it too. I know, exactly. It's fun to chat to people.
Exactly. Yeah.
What would you say that podcasting has taught you the most about building relationships in business so far?
I would say that's so the first thing is what I've mentioned. Like I learn a lot. Like I speak 45 minutes or half an hour, depending how long your podcast is. I had one
Mhm.
was just 15 minutes and I already learned a lot from my
Yeah,
guests. So you have a lot of like free learnings for you that is like, oh, I didn't think about it. I'm gonna apply that to my company or something.
right.
So you can get business advice
Yeah.
and and also you need to when you do a podcast you need to also you have to force yourself to be engaging, right? To
Mhm.
not for the audience, but also for your guest. You have to be really organized. You need to, to manage the pre, during, and post podcast. So I think it
Mhm.
gives you a lot of good managerial skills and also time management skills. And
Mhm.
so I think having a podcast, you don't know what you don't know. Like when you start
Right.
doing it, it's like, oh my God, I made that mistake. Oh, I should have done that. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, next time I have to. So,
Mhm.
so, so you learn a lot of things that you didn't even cross your mind.
Mhm. Very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I know too, I'm not sure if this is recently though, but I know that you have taught a masterclass in German.
Yes.
When was that?
2 years ago, I recorded a masterclass. It's still available in the platform Sales in DACH.
Uh-huh.
So if you're a German speaker and you want to know more or learn more about sales techniques, I'm not the only one. So
Yeah.
my masterclass is about how to prospect technical roles, but you have
Mhm.
other colleagues of mine doing how to negotiate, demo, discovery calls, cold calling. Like I think every sales topic is in that platform from
Mhm.
different structures, and it's the best ones in the DACH regions.
Sorry. That's sorry. And that shows you learn with podcasts. You should always put your phone on mute.
Airplane mode for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Okay, got it. So I wanted to ask you then, obviously you've written a book, you've had these podcasts, and now you've done this masterclass as well. What do you think is the best like sales education format? What do you think it works best?
Depends on you as a person. There are people who
Mhm.
prefer to read, there are people who prefer to watch, there are people who prefer a mix, there are people who prefer to make mistakes and
Mhm.
learn day to day. I think it depends on your learning style more than
Mhm.
anything.
What process do you prefer personally?
I like learning small bits. Either I see an advice on LinkedIn, an advice on a newsletter, someone tells me something new and I experiment.
Mhm.
So instead of like learning a whole thing in a book or a whole thing in a masterclass, I like to pick up small things here and there and apply and see if they work or not, or if I need to iterate.
Mhm. Got it. I really appreciate that. I think that's a really good answer. I want to switch gears a little bit. I happen to know that you do marketing and PR for a jazz band.
Yes, whenever I have time.
And the name of that is Plasticine.
Yes, plasticine, yes.
Plasticine. Okay. I love that name. Definitely want to cover what is behind that. How did you kind of get involved in that?
So I've studied music myself when I was
Mm,
younger, 7 years of classical music. And so I always wanted to kind of work in the music industry, but I
mhm.
never tried because it's tough industry, you're not that well paid. I mean, if you're very famous, you are, but it's like it's either or, there are not
Yeah.
many people making money in between, right? This can also like the art world can be a bit toxic as well.
Right.
So even though I would love to kind of manage a band, I never looked for it. So
Mhm,
then
mhm,
when I met my partner, he's a professional musician, that's his job,
mhm.
and he has this band, and I'm like, "Do you need PR and marketing manager?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I do, but we cannot pay you, right? Because it's jazz, it's originals, we make no money with it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Good, that's my new hobby then."
Yes.
Doing that for 4 years. We went to major festivals in Portugal because they are from
Wow.
Portugal. We were nominated for an international award as well.
Mm.
So like taking into account the little time and money we have to work on the project, I think it's been going really well.
It sounds like it. That's incredible. How do you manage to balance your obviously demanding career with also something so creative, as music promotion?
Like, so obviously I don't do it every week, and I was really working a lot when they launched an album in
Mhm,
2022. So when you have an album release, you have to put a lot of effort. Press releases, playlist pitching on Spotify. So in that year, I was putting a lot of time because we haven't launched a new album since then. You can do it here and there. Hey, let me send us some emails to festivals, or hey, let me do a bit of playlist pitching. But as
mhm,
the is not you anymore, it's also harder to get into playlists. So So we keep the social media and stuff, but it's something that it doesn't take much of my time. I mean, obviously, if I would have more time, we would have even more listeners and stuff. But yeah, but we just work on it whenever we have the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not stressing myself out, especially with no, like when we have a new album. Yes, I'm going to work again every weekend on it, which was what happened. I created a roadmap and I was like, these are my weekends, and then this is what I have to do in each weekend. I did the same
Hmm.
for the book. But yeah, it's not something I do like every week if you don't have a new album coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. What a fun creative hobby. Good for
Yeah,
you.
it
It's
is.
quite impressive. I love
And it's
that.
super fun because when I go to the festivals with them, I'm their road manager. So
Yeah.
I'm organizing things on the ground. I book interviews with radios. I have also to take pictures and videos. We don't
Yeah.
have, so I have to do basically everything
Right.
logistic wise. And that's a lot of fun. It's a lot
Right.
of,
Yeah. Um, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is it all right if we do some rapid fires?
let's go.
Okay. All right. Good. First question. I'm curious if you've already said it, but what is the best sales tool that you can't live without?
Yeah, Ample Market for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
100% Ample Market.
Good. Second question. What is the hardest part of prospecting?
The no-shows. So when people accept
Mm,
in a meeting and then don't show up and then they ghost you and then you have to go after because it's very daunting work.
mm,
It's not creative, it's not nice. It's
mhm.
like, oh, I thought I got it and now it's not counting towards my target. So that part, I think is the part I like the least are the no-shows.
Yeah. Yeah. A bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, that too. But
Yeah.
I'm used to it. After 15 years in sales, you don't have feelings
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah. No more feelings. No more feelings. Cold
Like some
hard seller. All right. So, favorite podcast you've hosted or favorite episode moment?
So I had two podcasts, but my favorite one was A Day in the Life of a Buyer Persona
Hmm.
because that was exactly the podcast I would have wanted in the beginning of my career because
Mm,
I would interview each buyer persona. So I would have an episode of director of engineering, director of customer success, CEO, and I would try to understand what their priorities are and challenges, and that would have made my life much easier as a salesperson.
mm,
So that's why
mm.
it's my favorite.
Yeah. Love that. Good answer. If you were in sales, what would you be doing?
Cabaret singer.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That is by far the best answer I've ever heard to that question.
So, like, you know what I want to do? I want to sing cabaret songs for the rest of my life.
I love that you knew that immediately too. I think that might be your second career choice if
Maybe
you
it's
ever
time to
decide
switch
to.
before I get old.
Just saying, I support it. Okay, final question. Do you have a book or course or resource or anything that you can recommend or refer budding entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast on?
Yes, but it's not a business book because I think so. I have a very critical opinion about business books. There are
Mm,
many that are good, but there are many that are bullshit. Sorry for my French, but that's the truth. So, and
okay.
many of them could be a brochure. It's like they have one concept that's interesting, and then I have to write 100 pages to make it a book. Business books, not all of them, obviously.
Hmm.
I even wrote one, so I'm talking a bit about myself. But I usually recommend when you work in sales and when you work in business, you really need to understand human behavior and human beings.
Hmm.
And usually you don't get that with exceptions, you don't get that in most business books. So what I recommend is a really good book that's not business from George Saunders, which is a very good contemporary American author. It's called Swimming in the pond in the rain.
Okay.
And that is a book that he analyzes seven tales from Russian authors. Very smart way. And the way you look at each character, the way he understands what each character is going for and the way they behave. I
Hmm.
would say those lessons are way more important than most things you hear in a lot of business podcasts, and business books. So I really recommend the book from George Saunders.
Love. I've never heard that recommendation before. You said swimming in a
In the
pond
rain.
in the rain. Okay, got it. I'm gonna have to look it up after this. That sounds amazing.
And he has an amazing sense of humor, so it's not
Yeah.
boring at all.
And I don't think you mentioned it before, but what is the name of your book so that people can find it?
So it's in Portuguese. I'm going to say in Portuguese and then translate it,
Okay.
which is Sales to Those Who Think They Have No Talent for It.
Ooh, okay. Lovely title. Okay. All right. Got it. Perfect. And where can people buy that book? Is it on Amazon?
It's in Portugal, so I work with a publisher in Portugal. So maybe it's on Amazon because everything is in Amazon.
Yeah.
But in Portugal, every bookstore has it, and all of the websites where usually people buy books, they can find it there.
Okay. Got it. So if you're ever in Portugal or if you live in Portugal, you know you can find the book anywhere.
But it's in Portuguese, so you also should be able to understand it.
Where can people connect with you and follow along with your journey?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my only social media, so I don't have Instagram. I don't have anything else. So LinkedIn
Okay.
it is.
Perfect.
Easy.
Easy peasy. And all of that will be linked in the show notes below as well, of course. Mafalda, I'm so excited that I got to chat to you. This has been such a good episode.
It was very funny. So I had a great time. Really, like thanks so much, Emily. Really.
Of course, of course. And that is a wrap.